There are predators in the Amazon, you can see. A jaguar's shadow. A caiman's eyes in black water. An anaconda, silent, heavy, patient. But the most unstoppable hunter I've ever witnessed does not roar. It does not hiss. It does not breathe the way we do. The ground isn't still. The ground is alive. It moves like a living shadow across the forest floor. A black river made of legs. This isn't one animal. It's a system. Be honest. Would you step closer or step back? Because when it arrives, everything runs. It takes a second for your brain to catch up. At first, you don't understand what you're looking at. Your mind tries to label it. A snake. A spill of dark water. A swarm. But it is not water. And it is not a single animal. If you stand still, you become part of the path. And the ants aren't the whole story. The followers show up. If you're new here, this is Flying River, Amazon. We don't chase myths. We chase what the jungle actually does. The rainforest speaks first with sound. Before you see danger, you hear it. A branch snaps. A flock panics. A sudden silence. But army ants announce themselves with motion. It starts small. A leaf twitches with no wind. A thin line appears in the dirt. An insect bolts across your boot like it already knows the ending. Then you notice the pattern. The forest floor is not still. The forest floor is moving. And then you see it. A dark band flowing forward like a living tide. Relentless. Patient in its own way. Ants sounds harmless. Like something you wipe away and forget. But out here, small is how the Amazon hides power. The line does not stop. It does not hesitate. It advances. I stand there watching this moving wall, and my first instinct is simple. Get closer. That's human nature. We step toward the rare thing. But the Amazon doesn't reward curiosity for free. So I make a deal with myself. I will follow the line. But I will move like the forest wants me to move. Slow, quiet, respectful. And the first thing I learn is this. The victims aren't dramatic. No screaming. No cinematic blood. Just life trying to escape. Roaches sprinting over roots. Crickets launching into the air. Spiders abandoning their silk. Anything that lives low, anything that hides in leaf litter gets exposed. Because this doesn't hunt like a cat. It hunts like a fire. And fire doesn't pick and choose. Up close, it is unreal. Ants on top of ants on top of ants. A moving texture. A living carpet. They flow around obstacles like water. Then reform like they share one mind. One ant is nothing. 10 ants are annoying. 100 ants are a problem. But thousands moving as one become a force of nature. Then I notice something else. They are building. They link their bodies together. They become bridges. They become ladders. They become living ropes. No blueprint. No leader you can point to. Just instant problem solving. It is terrifying. And it is beautiful. The line reaches a crack in wood. A pocket under a root. A small hiding place that worked yesterday. In seconds, it becomes a trap. The ants flood in. Everything inside tries to escape. And that's where the Amazon reveals a deeper truth. The ants aren't the only hunters watching. Above the line, birds gather, not singing, not posing, hunting. They aren't here for the ants. They're here for what the ants flush out. This is the moment the rainforest turns into a stage. A frog sits at the edge, perfectly still. A statue with eyes. A cricket bursts out, desperate. The frog strikes. No hesitation, no mercy, just timing. A lizard darts in, grabs, vanishes. A spider climbs up a blade of grass like it's escaping a flood. For a second it looks safe. Then a bird drops down and the spider is gone. Escape one danger, become prey to another. That is the Amazon. And here is the part people don't think about. When everything runs, some of it runs straight at you. You're not just observing. Your terrain, your boots, your pants, the sweat on your skin. A scout ant climbs onto my boot, then another, and suddenly you feel the swarm in your body, not your eyes. A tiny sting, like a needle, then another. What would you do right now? Brush them off slow or run? Panic is loud, fast, messy. And messy is expensive here. So I do the opposite. I slow down. I breathe. I brush them off carefully. No slapping. No wild movement. Calm is survival. Calm buys time. Calm buys options. Calm lets you see. And once you see clearly, you realize something else. The most intense part of the swarm isn't always the center. It's the edge. The edge is where the rainforest makes decisions. The center is ants. The edge is panic. The edge is opportunity. The edge is where predators show up. A beetle rockets out like it's fired from a cannon. A bird snaps it out of the air. A roach changes direction and runs straight into a lizard's mouth. Everything is moving, but none of it feels random. It feels like the forest is responding to a signal, because it is. The signal is the moving line, and then the line moves on like it was never here. No warning, no ceremony. Leaves settle. The frantic scurrying ends. The birds drift away. It feels like a ceasefire. Not safe, just paused. Back home, silence feels like comfort. Out here, silence can mean something fed. Silence is the sound of a system resetting. I crouch near the path where the swarm passed. The forest floor looks normal again, but normal is deceptive in the rainforest. Under these leaves are tiny cities, larvae, beetles, spiders, tunnels, whole lives hidden under life. The line doesn't destroy the jungle. It edits it. It removes what cannot escape fast enough. It forces the hidden world to relocate. It forces everything to adapt. And that pressure, that disturbance, is part of what keeps the rainforest alive. People like to imagine the Amazon as a paradise, a place of peace. But the Amazon is not peaceful. It is balanced. Balance is math. And math requires pressure. So I keep tracking. Not because I want to get bitten again. Because I want to understand the pattern. The swarm moves like a river system. It splits. It merges. It keeps direction. It flows around a fallen log and reforms on the other side like it never lost itself. It reaches a gap between roots, a small drop, a boundary for most insects. For these ants, it is nothing. They link body, to body. A living bridge. Then the swarm crosses, like the gap never existed. And watching that, you realize something. Teamwork isn't a cute idea out here. It's weaponized. If you want more real Amazon stories like this, hit subscribe. It keeps this channel alive in the jungle. Now, here's the next layer. The followers. You start to see them once you stop staring only at the ants. Birds hopping low in the understory. Quick movements. Sharp focus. Not for the ants. For the life being pushed into the open. A frog that waits. A lizard that times its sprint. A spider that climbs and tries to disappear into height. Everyone is reading the same signal. The moving line is a traveling alarm, a traveling opportunity. The ants spend energy to flush prey out. Everything else tries to profit. That's what makes this feel like a system, not a scene. Because the ants don't just feed themselves. They feed the rainforest's rhythm. They force the forest to stay awake. And then you start asking the question that matters. What is myth and what is reality? Be honest. Before this video, did you think a swarm could climb you in seconds? People tell two stories about army ants. One is the horror story. They can swarm you fast. They feel unstoppable. The other is the cute story. Nature is amazing. Teamwork. The truth sits in the middle. They don't target humans like prey. But if you stand in the path, you're not special. Your terrain, they will climb, they will bite, they will keep moving. They are not random. They are directional. They behave like flow. They follow trails. They respond to terrain. They have preferences and limits. Reality is already enough. You don't need to exaggerate the rainforest. The rainforest is already the most honest place on earth. Then the light changes. Late afternoon becomes dusk. The jungle holds its breath. Light turns thick, shadows stretch. And you can feel the shift. Day hunters step back. Night hunters clock in. And I make a decision I probably shouldn't make. I stay. Because I want to know. Does the lion sleep? I kill my light for a moment. At night, you don't see the jungle. You sense it. Every rustle feels close. Every pause feels like something listening. Back home, night means winding down. Here, night is rush hour. My body wants to move fast, but the Amazon punishes rushing. So I slow down. One step, then another. I scan the ground for movement. I switch my light on for a second. There it is. Not a full wall. A thin scouting line. A whisper. Same pattern. Same purpose. No, the line doesn't sleep. It changes shape. A small insect bursts out and sprints. The ants spill forward behind it. The insect runs in a straight line. Straight lines are predictable here. Predictable gets intercepted. The swarm spreads, then tightens. The prey disappears under motion. No drama, just conversion. Life becomes fuel. That violence is quiet. Quiet doesn't mean gentle. Quiet means optimized. And at night, the followers change. Frogs, lizards, spiders that hunt by vibration. Same logic. The ants flush life out. Others harvest what is forced to move. Night in the Amazon doesn't calm the jungle. It turns the volume up. So I step back. Night is not the time to prove anything. The forest keeps running. And that's the thing I will remember. Not the sting, not the adrenaline, the shape of power. People come to the Amazon looking for giants. The jaguar, the eagle, the anaconda. And yes, those are real. But sometimes the strongest force in the rainforest is smaller than your fingernail. Power isn't always size. Sometimes power is coordination. Sometimes power is numbers. Sometimes power is momentum. A jaguar can miss. A snake can fail a strike. But the line doesn't miss because it isn't aiming. It is sweeping. The Amazon strips you down to what is true. It doesn't perform for your camera. It operates. And if you're patient, you get to see the operating system. A moving line that forces life to reveal itself. A disturbance that feeds everything watching. A pressure that keeps the rainforest awake. The Amazon is beautiful, but its beauty is not soft. It is functional. It doesn't pause for emotion. It keeps going. We live in a world where danger is often imaginary. Headlines, screens, comment sections. Out here, danger is simple, physical, honest. A line of ants that will climb your boot if you stand still too long. And weirdly, that honesty is calming because the Amazon doesn't lie. It gives you reality. It asks for respect. So here is my last question. If the most unstoppable predator can be made out of creatures we ignore, what else is powerful that we refuse to notice? This is Flying River Amazon. If you want the rainforest as it really is, not the postcard, subscribe. And tell me in the comments, closer or back? Because out here the Amazon never sleeps.